students, welcome back to today's class. So today we are going to discuss about the next topic, which is tissue organization in plants. The content standard for today's lesson is 2.3, living processes in multicellular organism. The learning standard for today's lesson is 2.3.2, identify specialized cell in multicellular organism. 2.3.3, analyze the density of certain organelles with the function of specialized cell in multicellular organism. And 2.3.4, describe the effect of deficiency, absence, or failure of the function of an organelle of certain cell in multicellular organism. Okay, so before we discuss into further in this topic, let us just look into examples of question that can be asked, okay, in this topic. Okay, by knowing the question first, it helps you to focus on what are things that you need to find, okay, in this lesson to help you answer this question. Okay, number one, state an example of cell modified from epidermal cell. Number two, state two differences between parenchyma and sclerenchyma tissue. Number three, explain two adaptation of structure xylem to perform its function, two adaptation. Number four, state the component of cell found abundantly in palisade mesophyll cell. And explain what will happen to photosynthesis process if this component is absent in palisade mesophyll cell. And number five, explain why does muscle cell have abundant mitochondria. Alright, before answering all these questions, let us look into the classification of plant tissue. Alright, so before, in previous lesson, we learned about classification of animal tissue. So we continue with plant tissue for today. Okay, plant tissue, okay, they are further divided into two types of tissue. The first one is meristem tissue. The second one is permanent tissue. Meristem tissue are further divided into two types: apical meristem tissue and lateral meristem tissue. Okay, so meristem tissue, they consist of cells that are actively dividing. Okay, they actively dividing means they undergo rapid mitosis process. Okay, mitosis process is important, in which it will help to increase the number of the cell. Okay, from one cell to two cell, from two cell to become four cell, and so on. Okay, this is important for growth of the plant. Okay, so meristem tissue is responsible for cell division. Okay, increase the number of cell in plants, hence the plant can grow. Whereas permanent tissue, okay, permanent tissue can be further divided into three types. The first one is dermal tissue, second one is ground tissue, and the third one is vascular bundle. The ground tissue, they can be divided into three types: parenchyma tissue, collenchyma tissue, and sclerenchyma tissue. While vascular bundle can be further divided into xylem tissue and phloem tissue. So you must remember the names of the tissue and which tissue they are classified into, okay, so that you will not get confused. Make yourself a good tree map like this. It helps you to understand better. Now let us look into the permanent tissue, specifically permanent tissue. All right. So and we are going to discuss about the structure and function of each one of these tissue. So the first one is epidermal tissue. Okay, it sounded like epidermis. Epidermis is kulit. So epidermal tissue is the outermost tissue layer okay, on the stem, leaf, and roots of young plants. Okay, so epidermal cell wall, which are exposed to the air, have a waxy and waterproof layer called cuticle. Meaning, okay, this epidermal layer, they have waxy berlilin, okay, and waterproof layer kalis air. Okay, this layer they are called as cuticle. Okay, so cuticle, it reduces water loss through evaporation or through transpiration. It protects the leaf from mechanical injuries and also pathogen, right? There are some modified epidermal tissue, okay, and these tissue are modified according to their function. For example, some epidermal tissue undergo differentiation and becomes guard cell. Guard cell, it controls the opening of the stoma, right? And we also have root hair cell. Root hair cell can be found in the root system. Okay, root system dekat akar. Okay, root hair cell increase the surface area of the root for water and mineral salt absorption, right? So what you need to focus here is, okay, the function of epidermal tissue, okay, the characteristic of epidermal tissue, and also some examples of modified epidermal tissue. The next type of permanent tissue is the ground tissue. So the ground tissue can be further divided into three types: parenchyma tissue, collenchyma tissue, and sclerenchyma tissue. Okay, let us look into the characteristic and the function of parenchyma tissue first. Okay, so parenchyma tissue is the simplest living cell that do not undergo differentiation yet. Okay, tidak mengalami proses differentiation. They have the thinnest cell wall among the three tissue. They have the thinnest cell wall. Okay, and parenchyma tissue are always turgid to provide mechanical support and maintain the shape of herbaceous plant. This is the function of parenchyma tissue: support and maintain the shape of herbaceous plants. Okay. During parenchyma tissue also helps involved in photosynthesis because they have chloroplast on them. Okay, they help in storage of starch and sugar and also involved in gaseous exchange. Okay, now parenchyma tissue also involved in repair and regeneration of plant tissue as well as in the vascular system. So examples of characteristic of parenchyma tissue and also examples of function of parenchyma tissue. Next is collenchyma tissue. Collenchyma tissue, similarly to parenchyma tissue, they made up of living cells which mature into cells that are flexible. Okay, so collenchyma tissue, they have cell wall. They also have cell wall. Okay, the cell wall are thicker than parenchyma tissue, and the cell wall is made up of pectin and hemicellulose. Okay, pectin and hemicellulose. The function of collenchyma tissue, they provide mechanical support and elasticity to plants. Right? Another ground tissue is sclerenchyma tissue. Sclerenchyma tissue consists of dead cells. So these are the only dead cell, okay, that categorized under ground tissue. The rest of the other two is living cell. Sclerenchyma tissue is dead cell. When they are mature, they become dead. Okay, and sclerenchyma tissue, they have the thickest cell wall among the three ground tissue. And because of the thick cell wall, they provide mechanical support, okay, to parts of plant that are already matured. Okay, so this tissue also helps to transport water and nutrients to the plants. Okay, the second type of permanent tissue is vascular bundle. So vascular bundle can be further divided into xylem tissue and also phloem tissue. Okay, so xylem is also made up of dead cell and it is without cytoplasm, right? The cell wall of the xylem, they contain lignin, all right? So lignin, okay, it helps to reinforce the xylem tissue, thus enabling the xylem tissue to act as to provide mechanical support to the plants. Okay, so xylem vessel also elongated, hollow, and connected to each other from its root to the leaves. Okay, they form a very long and hollow and connected tube. Okay, and this xylem tissue, this tube enables xylem to transport water and mineral salt to all parts of the plant. Meaning that here xylem tissue serve as two purposes. One is for um, provide mechanical support due to its cell wall have lignin, so they can provide mechanical support. Okay, the second function of xylem tissue is to transport water. Why? Because they have hollow, elongated, and connected tube, which helps to transport water. Right. The next vascular bundle is phloem tissue. Phloem are made up of two types of cell, okay, which is companion cell and also sieve tube. Okay, unlike xylem tissue, phloem tissue, they are made up of living cell, okay, which is the sieve tube in the presence of cytoplasm. So this cell have cytoplasm. Sieve tube, they do not have any organelles such as nuclei and ribosome. Okay, and phloem consists of sieve tube arranged from end to end, forming elongated and continuous tube structure. So both xylem and phloem tissue, they are both tube structure. Okay, now phloem, the main function of phloem is to transport sugar that is produced from photosynthesis, okay, from the leaf to storage organ. Okay, daripada leaf to the storage organ, okay, such as roots, fruits, and also tubers. Now, density of certain organ cell component and specialized cell function. Now, this table shows the relationship between cell component density with specialized cell function. Okay, in this table we have three columns: type of cell, okay, these are types of cell, cell component found in abundance, okay, maksudnya sel komponen yang boleh dijumpai pada kadar atau pada jumlah yang sangat banyak, okay, and why do they have, okay, extra number of component, okay, what are the functions that we can relate on why they have abundance number of cellular component. Okay, for example, type of cell which is sperm cell. Sperm cell, they have extra atau abundant number of mitochondrion. They have a lot of mitochondria. Why? Because they need to, okay, mitochondria to generate extra energy, okay, which enables the sperm cell to swim towards the uterus and fallopian tube to fertilize the secondary oocyte. Okay, so mitochondria, extra mitochondria here, okay, will generate extra energy for the sperm cell to swim, okay, towards the uterus and fallopian tube. Okay, another example is muscle cell. Okay, muscle cell. They also have a lot of mitochondria. Why? Because, okay, a lot of mitochondria helps to generate more energy, okay, for contraction and relaxation of muscle cell to enable movement and also flight, okay, untuk generate more energy. So this energy helps to contract and relax to enable movement or to produce movement. The next one, plant meristem cell. So plant meristem cell, okay, they also have a lot of mitochondria. Why? because extra mitochondria is needed, okay, to generate more energy, okay, to carry out cell division, okay, to produce new cell. So these three cells, they have a lot of mitochondria. Okay, another cell component that are found in abundance in many cells is chloroplast. Example, the palisade mesophyll cell and the spongy mesophyll cell both have large number of chloroplasts. Why? Okay, because chloroplasts, okay, lot of chloroplasts helps to absorb more sunlight, okay, more sunlight to carry out photosynthesis process. Okay, now another cell component that are found in abundance is rough endoplasmic reticulum and Golgi apparatus. For example, pancreatic cell, they have a lot of rough endoplasmic reticulum and Golgi apparatus. Okay, because they need these two cellular components, alright, for synthesis of and secretion of digestive enzyme. Okay, so they need these two cellular component in abundance. Okay, lebih banyak daripada sel-sel lain. Okay, dia mempunyai banyak rough endoplasmic reticulum and Golgi apparatus berbanding sel-sel lain. Alright, to increase secretion and synthesis of digestive enzyme. Alright, another cell is goblet cell. Okay, goblet cell, they are situated in the intestinal epithelium and respiratory tract. Okay, dia pada permukaan tisu epithelial, okay, di dalam usus. Okay, so they also have rough endoplasmic reticulum and Golgi apparatus in abundance, dengan banyak. Okay, so why? Because these two organelles helps to produce extra mucus, And lastly is liver cell. Okay, liver cell, they also have Golgi apparatus, rough endoplasmic reticulum and Golgi apparatus. Okay, the function is to metabolize carbohydrate and also detoxification of drugs and also poisons. Now, let's look into the question that has been asked in our in the earlier part of the video. Okay, the first one is state two example of cell modified from epidermal cell. Okay, so we have two kinds of this two types of cell. You can give example. All right, an example. So one mark. Okay. Number two, state two differences between parenchyma and sclerenchyma tissue. So two marks. For example, parenchyma tissue is made up of living cell, while sclerenchyma tissue is made up of dead cell. So that is one difference that we can find from parenchyma and sclerenchyma tissue. So here I use the word while and but. So to show comparison, okay, between these two tissues. So two differences, two marks. Okay, number three, explain two adaptation of structure xylem to perform its function. I have mentioned this. Okay, I have mentioned this in the structure of xylem. So two adaptation, okay, to perform its function. Alright, so here state one adaptation, okay, and its function, and another adaptation and its function. So 4 marks. Okay. Now number 4. State the component of cell that is found in palisade mesophyll cell. Okay, they are found in abundance. Okay. Now cell that is found abundant in palisade mesophyll cell. Explain what will happen to photosynthesis process if this component is absent in palisade mesophyll cell. So we know that one of the key organelle to perform photosynthesis process is chloroplast. So what happens if there is no chloroplast? Okay, so you answer these 3 marks. Okay, now number 5, why does muscle cell have abundant mitochondria? This one also very easy, 2 marks. Now if you find trouble atau problems in answering this question, you can always go back to the previous part of the video, okay, to answer this question. Alright, so all these answers, okay, I need you to write it down, okay, in books, okay, and take picture and send it to the Google Classroom. Alright, so I'll see you again in the next session of class, and also probably within this week I will post another video, okay, to continue our lesson so that we can finish this topic early. Alright, I'll see you again in the next class. Thank you for listening to this video.